Shalom, shalom. Right? Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashiach, Yahushua. As you see by today's title, we've gone over Colossians chapter 2. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 16. Colossians 2 and 16, right? I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't plan on it being long, but it may end up being long. But let's go ahead and get into it. Colossians 2 and 16, it says, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ," right? So if you are an Israelite, you got to understand what this is talking about, because a lot of Christians misuse this verse and abuse this verse, right? When it says, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat," you know what they're thinking? I can eat anything. When it says, "or in drink," I don't know what they believe. To most Christians, drinking wine or alcohol is a sin. So I don't know what they believe on the drink part. They typically skip that part. But it says, "or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days." They use this to say, look, I don't have to keep Passover. I don't have to keep the Sabbath day. I don't have to keep the new moons. I don't have to keep any of that. I can eat pork and I'm okay, right? God has got me. I'm okay, so on and so forth, which isn't. It's not the Bible, right? Let me see if I can find this. Boom. Isaiah 66. In verse 16. "For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord." So we see right here that there will be a judgment for people eating swine's flesh. And this hasn't happened yet. Some people may say it's allegorical. That's not actually talking about swine's flesh. If it's not, say it is allegorical. The fact or even the point that he's using swine's flesh and comparing it with a mouse and comparing it with abomination should let you know you shouldn't be eating it. You shouldn't be eating it. It's not even the fact that he's comparing it with abomination. He told you it's an abomination. Leviticus 11:7. "And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you." It says, "Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. He is unclean unto you." Right? Now, for some reason, boom, here we go. "They shall be even an abomination unto you." These unclean things, these unclean animals. It says, "They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination." They are an abomination. So we don't get to the New Testament and they're just no longer an abomination. It's not how the scriptures work. You just get to the New Testament and it's just the pork is now No longer an abomination. The swine is a clean animal now. It's not how it works, right? We even see Christ casting out evil and unclean spirits into swine. Why would you cast unclean spirits into swine? Because it's an unclean animal. That's why. That's the point. It didn't change. So when we get to Colossians 2 and 16, they try to tell you, let no man judge you in meat. And you no longer got to do that, and you can eat whatever you want to eat. You ask, can you eat a person? Why would you ask that? And they start laughing. Why would you say that? Because Christianity doesn't know how irresponsible they are. Talking to a young lady last Shabbat, and at the end of the conversation, because she was in the midst of sin, at the end of the conversation, she walked off saying, "Oh well, God will forgive me anyway." That's what Christianity doesn't see. That's what they don't see. That's what they don't get. That they're teaching people like that. Young lady was wicked, and they're teaching people like that. Oh well, God will forgive me anyway. So now she's gonna go off and continue in wickedness. Let a Christian sit there and tell you, well, that's not the case, and that's not the no, but that's exactly what y'all are teaching. That's exactly what y'all are teaching. So, you got to be careful. But let's continue. Colossians 2 and 16. We're going to give the understanding on this. I'm showing you how, this is not what they're saying. Or in respect of an holy day, or the new moon, or of the Sabbath days. Let's read about the Sabbath day. Exodus 31:16. My bad, I got to pull it up over here. Let me pull it up right here. Exodus 31:16. And behold, I have given. That is not it. That's actually 31:6. I like it. Exodus 31:16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. For a perpetual covenant, meaning a ongoing covenant. Perpetual. Let's look up perpetual. Let's cut out the middle, man. Let's get straight to it. What does it mean? Continuing forever. Everlasting. Well, not it's everlasting until we get to Paul, because Paul kind of he made it all right. No, that's not the case. Perpetual covenant. Let's read it again. Exodus 31:16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. For a continuing forever covenant. For an everlasting covenant. That's what it is. That's what it is. But now we get to Paul and it's fine and it's okay. No, let's read right here. Exodus 31:14. And ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Meaning you're cut off from the covenant, you're cut off from the land, and you're cut off from your people. And back in the day, it also accompanied death. But But Paul said, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in Sabbath day or in holy day or the new moon. He told you not to judge you in those things. Okay, right. Let's grab it. Romans chapter 7, verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. First off, he speaks to them that know the law. He's not speaking to people that started in Matthew and read from Matthew to Revelation, and now they're filled with the so-called Holy Ghost and they're speaking tongues now. No, he says, Paul himself told you, I speak to them that know the law. You got to know the law for Paul to even be talking to you. Number two, he says right here that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. That's what it is. That's the truth. The law has dominion over a man as long as he liveth. Right? He speaks to them that know the law. So let's go to the law. Let's grab what it's actually talking about in Colossians. We're going to Leviticus chapter 23. Let me find it because I think I got it highlighted on my iPad. I know it's this chapter, but it'd be hard for me to remember what verse specifically. I don't write all my verses down before class and do all that. Kind of just go off the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Bear with me. There we go. Back. Leviticus 23:37. These are the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by Salakia. If you don't know Leviticus 23 is laws of religious festivals, meaning what? Our feast days, Sabbath day, tabernacles, Day of Atonement, so on and so forth, right? First fruits, so on and so forth. It says, these are the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice, and a drink offerings, and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Everything upon his day. Meaning what? This is what Paul was talking about. This is what he's talking about. These are the feasts which he's letting you know right here. Let no man therefore judge you in meat offering or in drink offering or in the offerings of an holy day or the new moon or of the Sabbath days. He's not telling you to break, to not keep those laws. Because a lot of the times what's going on, so a lot of these people weren't allowed to come back into the tabernacles because the priests were over these certain things. That's why he's saying, let no man judge you. The Pharisees were over these certain things. No, you can't come in here. There were problems. If you were a Jew back then and your first language was Greek, if they heard you even praying in Greek, it was an automatic problem. So a lot of the times these men weren't able to go up and offer us a sacrifice. But Paul is letting them know it's fine. Why? Because of Christ, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. Right? I'm gonna grab one more precept to break it down, and then I'm gonna get into, the prophecy behind it. Ezekiel 45 and 17. And it shall, this is a future prophecy, but this is still going over the same thing. And it shall be the prince's part, which is Yahushua, to my understanding, to give burnt offerings and meat offerings and drink offerings, where? In the feast and in the new moons and in the Sabbaths, in all the solemnities of the house of Israel, he shall prepare the sin offering and the meat offering and the burnt offering and the peace offerings to make reconciliation for the house of Israel. Paul spoke to them that know the law. If you don't know the law, you do not need to be reading this. You don't know the law and you read this, oh well, damn, I can eat pork now because Paul just came out of nowhere and wrote a letter and said so. First off, even if Paul did come out and write a letter and said so, I'm going with God. Just be honest. I'm going with God. These are regular men who wrote these scriptures. Don't get me wrong, they're not just regular, but they holy men, of course. But at the end of the day, they are men who wrote these things. Daniel was a man. Isaiah was a man. Paul was a man. Peter was a man. We even see Peter making mistakes because he's a man. God, the Most High God, said not to eat certain things and not to do certain things. So if a man comes to me and tells me I can do them, I'm going with God. Hope that's clear. But that's all I was talking about. The meat offerings, drink offerings in those days. The offerings that are given in these days, because Paul speaks to them that know the law. Why though? First off, let's look at it. When was the letter to the Colossians written? This one says around 62, while Paul was in prison in Rome. However, some have proposed other dates and locations, including Caesarea in 57 through 59 AD, right? You got AD 60 to 62, which is fine, right? It's fine. Why is that fine? Because something was going to take place later on. It's called 70 AD. What happened in the year 70 AD? The siege of Jerusalem of 70 current era, I believe that's what that is, current era, or AD, was the decisive event of the first Jewish-Roman war, in which Roman army led by the future Emperor Titus besieged Jerusalem, the center of Jewish rebel resistance in the Roman province of Judea. Following a 5-month siege, the Romans destroyed the city and the second Jewish temple. So in 70 AD, our temple was destroyed. When you read the law, you understand that we are not able to sacrifice anywhere but Jerusalem and in the temple. We don't offer up offerings in the damn land of Egypt. We don't offer up offerings in damn Babylon. No, we do it in our land with our priest, because that's what God ordained. right? It was a precept that just came to my mind. Let me try. I'm trying to get it back. 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 Here we go. Here we go. Bear with me. Bear with me. All right. Let's go to John 4. There's a reason I'm doing all of this. Paul spoke on that because he knew and understood 70 AD was going to happen, and I'm going to show you how he understood and knew that. Because Paul listened, right? Paul was a man of prophecy and of understanding. John 4 and 22. Ye know, my bad, like you. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Right? Hold on, let me see. I wanted to start up. Here we go. I wanted to start up. Verse 19. The woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Because the law, you're supposed to go out, sacrifice, do all these things in the land where the temple is. Verse 20. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where man ought to worship. Yahushua saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither worship in this mountain nor yet in Jerusalem worship the Father. So Christ is telling her, you're not going to worship in this mountain nor in Jerusalem. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. God is the spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit. Meaning what? Christ knew about 70 AD. So he told this lady, you're not going to worship in this mountain. People are not going to worship in this mountain nor in Jerusalem. That wasn't the only time Christ spoke about this. Let's grab some more on it. Let's go to Matthew 22. Matthew 22 and verse 1. And Yahushua answered and spake unto them again by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. Again, he sent forth other servants, tell them, it's like it's saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all the things are ready. Come unto the marriage. But they made light of it, and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And they took his servants, and the remnant took his servants, and entreated them spitefully, and slew them. What is this talking about? It's talking about what the Pharisees were doing to Christ. It's talking about the Pharisees, the chief men, were doing to the disciples, to the apostles, all the martyrs, right? Verse 7. But when the king heard thereof, who's the king? Talking about the Most High God, Yahweh. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. Burned up their city. What do we see here? What do we see here? 70 AD. Following a 5-month siege, the Romans destroyed the city and the second Jewish temple. Look it up. Look. On Tisha B'Av, 70 CE or 70 AD, Roman forces overwhelmed the defenders and set fire to the temple. This is what they did. Christ prophesied of this. Christ spoke of this. He spoke of it. Let's grab another one. Matthew 21. Actually, a better one to be grabbed. Let's do it. Matthew 24. Most of Matthew 24 was talking about 70 AD. Matthew 24 and 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, talking about the Romans, spoken by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Why? Because they were going to besiege it. When you go into 70 AD and read about it, you understand that in 70 AD, they cut off all of our water and all of our food, and a lot of our people became cannibals. They started eating their own people, eating their own children, right? Because they surrounded us. And once they got us weak enough, they infiltrated, burned up everything. Verse 17, let him which is on the housetops not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not seen since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. A lot of this is going into 70 AD, when Christ prophesied this. So this is why we see Paul saying, let no man therefore judge you in your meat offerings, or in your drink offerings, or in the offerings in the holy days, new moons, or the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. Paul knew and understood 70 AD was going to happen and take place. Paul knew and understood that the true worshipers of God you can't lean on the temple anymore. Not no more. It's finna be gone. Am I saying, understand this, am I saying the things that are written in the temple work were wrong or off? No. Am I saying that these men weren't doing that or were not supposed to do that? No. They were still offering sacrifices. Like I said, it became a problem though to a lot of them, because a lot of them weren't able to. Are you circumcised? Are you this? Are you that? So on and so forth. When were you circumcised? How did you do this? How did you do that? You're not, you can't come back in. But a lot of people didn't believe in Christ. So they didn't believe in reconciliation. They didn't believe in adoption. So no, to a Pharisee, to a chief ruler, whatever back in the day, if you're cut off, your ass is cut off. You can't come in here. They ran into that problem. So it would make it difficult for them to offer up those sacrifices. But what do true worshipers do? Right? Let me see. True worshipers. Let's grab it right here. It's the song of the three holy children, or the prayer of Azariah. Let me find it. Boom. Verse 15. Neither is there at this time prince or prophet or leader or burnt offering or sacrifice or oblation or incense or place to sacrifice before thee to find mercy. Why is he saying this? When you know about the three holy children, they were in Babylon. They were in Babylon. They didn't have a place to offer up these things. What though? Nevertheless, in a contrite heart and in humble spirit, let us be accepted, like as in burnt offerings of rams and bullocks, and like as in 10,000s of fat lambs. So let our sacrifice be in thy sight this day, and grant that we may wholly go after thee, for they shall not be confounded which put their trust in thee. So those who worship in spirit and truth are going to have a contrite heart and let their contrite heart and a humble spirit be accepted, like as in burnt offerings, like as in these offerings that's given up in the Sabbath days, the new moons, in the holy days. We see the disciples, we see the apostles, we see all of them attending these feast days, we see all of them attending these Sabbath days, even after the death of Christ. So when pastor come along and tell you don't have to, tell you stop it, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Paul speaks to them that know the law. And with that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahushua. Till next time, Shalom.